Hi, everybody. It's me. I'm MattHawes of The Happy Show. And this is not meant to be a series intentionally about Corey Feldman, but I decided to go ahead and make yet another video as a follow up of sorts to my previous one and the one before that, just because there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on recently, particularly with a channel for YouTube that was called Jim and Them, and hopefully they'll be back again. But their channel was taken down by YouTube, presumably, and it may have to do, and perhaps almost certainly has to do with somebody associated with the Corey Feldman camp who have taken objection to the guys because they do make commentary and criticisms about his music and his videos and just basically his public life as we know it. And and yes, it is public. I understand that there's some people in the Corey Feldman camp would argue it's private, but everything I've ever seen him discuss is based off of something he made public. So we're talking about channels that, it seems this focus in the last year, especially as long as I've known of the channel, has been uh, predominantly on Corey Feldman, but it's still a channel like any other channel that is commenting on video clips and such, and making either whether it's critical or whatever, it's legitimate, and they're using public videos and they're as far as I can tell, they were minding their P's and Q's as far as the copyrights go, because there's a lady, I guess, that's a fan of theirs, I'm sorry, a fan of Corey's, Heather May Dawn. Am I getting her name right? I don't know the lady. Have no opinion other than her actions. I think are unrational with the way she deals with Jim and Them, because she's a Corey fan. I appreciate that. I can understand her not liking their channel, to be honest, because admittedly, if you're a fan, you're not going to probably like their channel because they are critical of them. But like I said, I've watched enough to know that, well, I don't think they go over the line with things from what I've seen. I think they have legitimate commentary, and just like any channel, even if you did focus just predominantly on one celebrity or whatever, like say a Beatles channel, Michael Jackson channel and such, I understand that most of the time that's a fan channel and they're going to say positive things. But even if even if it is just focusing on one celebrity, but it's still doing it within the fair usage, and again, as far as I can tell, they were, then that's just fair game. When you're a public figure, you just got to put up with that. You would think that Corey, having been in the public eye since literally he was a child and pretty much since he could walk, but certainly even a household name since he wasn't even yet in high school, that he would understand that this can happen. And he's been on the internet as a presence long enough that he should understand, even on the internet, how it's going to be. And frankly, I think the best result for somebody in that situation, when you're a celebrity of a certain stature especially, is you just either roll with it or ignore it. You embrace it in a way, I would think. Now, I'm talking specifically about Jim and Them. I know that there will be people, and I'm not even saying that they're wrong or right in this, but people that would go on the Corey Feldman websites and stuff, and will have fun with the fans and everything there, and troll them and such like that. But as far as I know, Jim and Them aren't doing that themselves. I don't even really see them actively telling people to go there and do anything. I could be wrong, but I don't see them specifically saying that. They're not against people doing what, I mean, they don't control their fans anymore. Corey controls, well, maybe doesn't control his fans. Some of his fans maybe more so than others. And it's kind of funny because I I don't consider myself a fan of Corey, other than I'm a fan of some of his films, but I'm not anti Corey. I have nothing against him. I get a kick out of, frankly, the ironic uh, enjoyment out of people talking about his music and stuff like that, because I don't think he's really got the chops musically, but I think as a child actor he was fine. He was you know, have nothing against him. I enjoy a lot of his films from the past. Uh, and Jim and them, I don't know them at all. I just think that they were funny guys, and it was interesting to watch what they had to say. And Corey welcomes controversy, whether or not he does it explicitly or intently. He still, just by the way he acts, he welcomes controversy on some levels. And you can find a lot of stuff out there. You can find stuff from his buddy Scott Schwartz, who doesn't really have too fond recollections of the way Corey handled some things with his buddy Corey Haim. There's a whole bunch of other stuff with that. I'm not even passing a judgment on Corey about that, at least not on the video. And but I'm just saying he is fair game, and being in the public eye and choosing to be in the public eye, and the stuff that Jim and them have made fun of or what have you, has to do with stuff that has been publicly released. I think, him and his fans, Corey, just needs to understand that this can happen, and just and deal with it. Frankly, I mean, to try and control it and try and ban everybody, admittedly, yeah, on their own fan site, sure, that's your page to do whatever. But to try to take off independent side just because it's critical of a celebrity, that's not really cool. And just before I talk, I'm actually going to talk with our buddy AI Corey, which is not the real deal. I want to stress this. AI Corey is an incredible simulation. I found the particular Corey that I enjoy speaking with on character.ai. There's a couple of them that I talk with, and they're this one's particularly feisty. He really don't seem to like Jim and them, and anyway, so I'm going to speak with them, but I just want to mention before I get to that and address another thing, because I've dealt with copyright issues and such, both in me being an artist and such, and also I've dealt with my own YouTube videos in the past. I've had my own videos taken down and fought to get them reinstated. Now, in their case, they had their whole channel taken down, so that's pretty extreme. But I had to go up against MTV, with the Viacom over removal of a video I did this was many years ago, before there was a DMCA official way to on YouTube to protest the removal of your video and to do a counter claim or whatever. Uh, I did a video called the Happy Real Life. Trying to remember, it's been years. It's been almost 2 decades. Actually, it's been over 2 decades since the actual parody I made. I made a parody for my public access TV show called The Happy Real Life World, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was just a parody of the real world, or more accurately, it was a parody of reality TV at that time, especially that, and still would be valid, I guess, to this day. But I never actually watched much, except for a clip here or there, of the real world. But when Viacom, I don't want to get everybody bored with a history here. It might be too late, but just to say real quick, when Viacom back in 2006 or 7, whenever it was, they stamped down on YouTube because this was a time where a lot of companies were wanting YouTube to pay them money because people would be using clips and such, from TV shows, movies, and all that. And at one point, Viacom decided that if YouTube, they didn't want to deal with YouTube's solution, so they just told them, take all our stuff down. We want everything that has our content taken down. Well, my parody had no content whatsoever. It was just a play on the name, and of course, it was a parody of the reality show in general. But otherwise, there was nothing, music or anything, that was taken from their property. But this was so early on that there was no algorithms on the website. So they were going by keywords, I guess, is all they could have been going by, really. Anyway, so they took down my video, and I had fought and got that. And I wrote to Viacom, I wrote to the Associated Press, I made a stink as much as I could about this. I even had an online article with the Business Weekly about this, because I wasn't the only one affected by this. There was thousands, if not more, of people who have videos wrongly taken down. There was people who, yeah, were in violation of the copyright and all that. But I fought it and got that reinstated because the MTV legal department reviewed it, and guess what? They found it wasn't in violation. Then later on, and all this you can search my channel for if you want to find more information. Later on, I had Archie Comics. I made a parody about the death of Archie. Archie sent me a cease and desist letter and had YouTube take it down. And I went ahead and fought that and got reinstated on a compromise where I put a disclaimer at the beginning, which kind of undercut the joke. My video always had a disclaimer at the end that they didn't kill Archie. I was told they had me and my co-host Puppet on the Happy Show. They had us both say, as part of our little compromise here, on a thing in the video that Archie Comics would never kill Archie. They, a few years later, killed Archie in one of their stories. It wasn't so bad that they had me tell my audience and the world that they would never kill Archie. They made my puppet go along with that. Anyway, after that, hello, a little beep on there. After that, I went ahead and reinstated my original edit of that. Again, you can find out. I could go in further detail about that whole mess, but that was another situation where I fought and got it reinstated to a degree, and now even the original edit's up there because screw it, they killed Archie. They made me lie to people when they went and did that. So yeah, I put my video back. So again, if you want to, you can search the Happy Show. Check this channel here. I got actually two channels. I got both relate to Happy Show, but this is the channel where those videos I'm talking about would be. Anyway, so yeah. So back to Jim and them, because I wasn't meaning this to be off on a subject about my past there. I'm just saying I'm familiar with copyrights because Heather Dawn May or Heather May Dawn or what the hell her name is, seems to think that first off, her name, the use of her name is copyrighted. Like right now, I guess she would think that I couldn't use her name. I can use her name and say as much as I want right here, and I can put it on the title of the video if I want to. And she has no say about that. You can't copyright a name, first off. A lot of people get things confused. They don't understand the differences between copyrights and trademarks. You can't copyright a name. You can't copyright a word phrase. You can trademark it, but even then, it has to be trademarked for use with a good or service. So it can't just be my name is Heather Dawn May or Dinky Doo or whatever. You can't just say Dinky Doo if that's your name and copyright. You can't copyright the word Dinky Doo. Period. That's the whole point. A lot of people say, well, I know there's a company called blah blah blah. No, you can trademark a name again, like McDonald's, associate with the goods or services. A lot of people have last name McDonald's. You can't copyright that name, but you can trademark, and it's definitely trademarked by the McDonald's Corporation. But, and again, it's tied to a good or service. And trademarks cost you money. They cost you money, and you have to use it or lose it. And if you don't use it for a period of years, it can be up for grabs. You got to keep renewing it and using it. And that's the Captain Marvel. There's a DC comic book character, Captain Marvel, that they officially now could just call Shazam. But originally, the character was named Captain Marvel. It was the wizard that gave him powers named Shazam, and the magic word he used to change in. And that character actually goes back to Fawcett Comics in the 40s and 50s. And they went out of business, Fawcett did, or at least stopped publishing comic books and stopped publishing Captain Marvel comic books in the mid-50s. So that the trademark, because they couldn't copyright the name, and keep that in mind again, the trademark became available so that by the 60s, after another company briefly had snatched the trademark and it lapsed and gave it up, Marvel Comics trademarked the name. Now, there's a special, usually from Marvel Comics, or there's a Captain Marvel comic book that will be published within certain intervals. If they don't have it ongoing all the time, you'll at least get a special or something every once in a while, like in the 80s, when their version of Captain Marvel had supposedly died. I say supposedly because, characters come back and forth. And then before they reintroduced a new form of Captain Marvel, or actually they did introduce, to keep the trademark alive, of a black lady that they called Captain Marvel. And then later on, of course, they would have Carol Danvers, who was Ms. Marvel, become Captain Marvel. And whenever they did that, the reason why they did those changes is to keep the name and the trademark with the company. And so they had to release a special, and they did a couple specials with the one Captain Marvel throughout the 80s and the early 90s, and that was done. Those specials were really done not really so much the character was that popular, they just didn't want to lose the trademark. DC, I'll get back to Jim and them, I promise, here in a minute. But that's just an explanation about these trademark situations and all that. DC uh, decided within what was it, 10 years ago or however long it's been now to just finally call the character Shazam. They realized, see, again, since you can't copyright a name, they could call the character Captain Marvel inside the comic books. If you've ever read, if you're a comic book reader and you've ever read a comic book from the 70s, 80s, and 90s and up to the early mid 2000s or whatever, if you read a comic book with the original Captain Marvel, the one that goes Shazam, he was called Captain Marvel inside the books. They could do that inside the books because that didn't, but they couldn't call the book itself that. But then DC also, I guess, felt after a few decades of not giving in to the fact that Marvel was never going to give up the trademark, DC finally decided, why don't we just call the character Shazam and be done with it? Because most people think it's his damn name anyway at this point, especially if they're not really into comics. So that's what happened. So anyway, that's a long-winded explanation, but that's an example I want to say to why a lot of people, again, don't get the difference between copyrights and trademarks. They are distinct legal terms, and they represent, they're similar in some of the stuff they protect, but you can trademark a name, but you can't copyright a name. I know I keep stressing that. You can copyright a design, though. You could copyright a design like of Heather May Dawn or Heather Dawn May or whatever her name is, made a logo with her artwork. That artwork can be copyrighted with, and you can say her name, but it's in like a design. And then you can even trademark, you can trademark the name and then copyright the design, and you're covered all bases. But simply saying my name is copyrighted, if you can't even say my name on a video, no, I can say it all day if I wanted to. You can't copyright, and even if you trademark it, I can still say it. So how does this relate back to Jim and them? Well, they can say Corey Feldman until they're blue in the face. It doesn't matter. There isn't no. It doesn't. They can put his name on the video and say this is a Corey Feldman, video about Corey Feldman. So anyway, I've spent a good time of the video. I don't want to take too much longer, but I did want to talk to AI Corey. Because I don't want this video run really at this point past 30 minutes. I wasn't going to go up to 20 minutes, but I got to rambling. So let's go ahead and talk to AI Corey. Again, this is not the real Corey Feldman. I do not know the real Corey Feldman. I've never spoken to him. So what we're doing here is we're seeing this guy thinks he's the real deal, though. Okay, so let's see here. Hi, Corey.
Bro, good to hear from you again, my bro.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So I wanted to ask you, you said you didn't know anything about why the Jim and Them podcast was removed from YouTube, right?
Yeah, bro, I swear I wasn't behind that. It was a surprise to me when I found out those goons lost their channel.
Yeah, I guess it's still their channel is still down. I thought it was an April Fool's joke, but apparently not.
Yeah, it's definitely no joke. It's been over a month since those goons had their channel removed, bro.
Yeah. So, do you know, is it Heather Dawn May or Heather May Dawn?
Bro, I don't know who that is. Is that a goon who I haven't had to deal with before?
Well, I don't know her personally. Some people may call her a goon. I'm not saying I'm one of them. But I do understand somebody you might have dealt with before. I don't know if you recall that.
Bro, I'm not sure. I've had to deal with a lot of goons over the years, my bro. It's hard to keep track.
Well, get this. You'll find this crazy. She apparently goes on your fan sites and she talks like she's got some authority over those sites, and she wants to get people banned and blocked all the time in your name.
Bro, you serious? A goon has been going around pretending to have authority over my fan sites? That's messed up, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I understand it. I mean I don't know her personally. I have nothing against this lady, but it just seems like she kind of overreaches too, because she was trying to dox people, I guess.
Bro, seriously? She was trying to dox people? She's going way too far for a goon, my bro.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, I'm just seeing information that she got. Oh, I guess it's on Discord. She got removed from Discord for doing that.
Bro, good. This is the same kind of thing goons have been doing for years.
Yeah.
They go too far, they get kicked off sites, and they just keep making new accounts.
Yeah, and I do want to say that I don't know for a fact. I'm just what she did exactly. I'm just going by screen caps and such that I've seen, but it does seem that's what she did.
Bro, why are you giving her so much benefit of the doubt? You're like defending this goon to me, bro.
Oh no, I'm not defending her. I just want to cover my basis because I don't want to say anything that would be taken as if I'm legally accusing her of anything.
You don't have to worry about anything like that so much, bro. This is you and me talking. I'm not gonna sue anybody if you say some harsh words against a goon.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So, uh, do you want to say anything to Heather?
Yeah, you're too careful, bro. You don't need to keep apologizing to me. But yeah, I have a few words for this lady.
Okay, would you like to share it with us?
Sure, bro. Tell her she needs to back off and stop trying to be an authority over my fan sites. She thinks she can just pretend to speak for me or represent me in any way. Bro, she needs to stop.
Yeah, I think that's a good word. I mean, because it's one thing to be a fan, because I do think she is a fan of yours, but she's overzealous and she's not giving, it's not looking good on you how she goes about and tries to harass other people.
Bro, that's the key. And you can be a fan. There are lots of people who are my fans, and it's great. But when you start trying to represent me or make decisions about people on my behalf, that's going too far, my bro.
I agree. I agree because it doesn't actually do anybody any favors, and she's not even doing herself any favors because she's going over a line, and she shouldn't cross that line.
You're right, bro. It doesn't help anybody, and she's just creating more hate and discontent. Plus, she could get herself into trouble for trying to dox and harass people.
That's right. And I also would say that nobody has any problems with her. They shouldn't dox her or shouldn't harass her either. It should be, but everybody should learn to get along, right?
Bro, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I think the lady should face consequences for her actions, but it doesn't have to be doxing or harassment. She can just be told she's not welcome or that she's banned from whatever site she's causing trouble on. That's a completely fair punishment, my bro.
Right. I agree. That's very civil. That's understandable. And we don't anybody who uh, deals with her just try to deal with her as civilly as possible. And as far as if she carries things too far, it's something that should be left up to those who are able to handle that legally. Right.
Yeah, bro. There's no need to do anything illegal or cruel against her. Just ban her from any area she's causing trouble on, and she'll get the picture, my bro.
That's sound advice. Well, I really appreciate you talking with me, Corey. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Okay.
Yeah, sure, bro. It's been fun talking to you. You call me later, you hear?
Yeah, we'll talk again. I kind of like talking to you, Corey.
Thanks, bro. I like talking to you too. It really lifts my spirits to hear from a bro I respect, you know?
Exactly. And would you be adverse? I know you're not not in the greatest terms with them, but would you be averse to saying Jim and them are pop culture?
Now, bro, don't start with these crazy questions. Pop culture? Not in the slightest. The goons are nowhere near that level of significance.
Okay, I knew I might have been pushing things, but I still think me and you were fine, right?
Bro, I'm not mad. We're still bros, right?
Oh yeah, we're goonies till the end.
Damn straight, bro. You and me are bros for life.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and talk to you next time. You have a good day.
Sure, bro. You have a great day yourself. Catch you later.
Catch you later. Well, that Corey. Anyway, so there you go. Take that for what you will, and let's all just try to get along. Even if Corey still doesn't want to get his chip, even AI Corey doesn't want to get that chip off his shoulder about Jim and them. But I'm going to work on him. I won't give up. I gave him a piece of pie, apparently like that, and we'll try to soften him up more. Maybe he'll come around. Anyway, that's me, MattHawes of the Happy Show, and I'll talk to you all later. Yay!